Hi everyone, my name is Jordan Bemis. I did my project on the Upper Mississippi River National Wildlife and Fish Refuge. So a little bit about the refuge. The Upper Mississippi Wildlife Refuge is a protected area in the Midwest that runs from Wabash, Minnesota to Rock Island, Illinois. The 4 states that make up the refuge along the Mississippi River are Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, and Illinois. The refuge was built to protect the flora and fauna as well as fish species that live in the river habitat. It is also meant to serve as a protected breeding and nesting area for migratory birds. Will Dilg, the founder of the Isaac Walton League, established the refuge in 1924 and is now the longest continuous river refuge in the lower 48 states at 261 miles long. Along the refuge, there is over 240,000 acres of wooded islands, marshes, and backwaters that are protected. These areas are where migratory birds nest. Some bird species that migrate through the area are tundra swans, canvasback ducks, and the American white pelicans. No evictions took place to obtain this land, and the refuge is not listed under any IUCN category. The wildlife that occupy the area include many different types of species such as mammals, waterfowl, birds, fish, amphibians, and reptiles. Some specific species include the white-tailed deer, great blue heron, American white pelican, canvasback duck, mallard duck, peregrine falcon, and bald eagles. Along with protecting and managing various wildlife species, the refuge managers also protect many plant species. Some of these plant species include the prickly pear cactus, bur oak trees, a number of different prairie grasses, eastern cottonwood trees, and cattails. Will Dilg started creating the refuge in 1922 by establishing a team of experienced, wealthy fishermen and hunters. This team was called the Isaac Walton League. This team of men opposed and fought the draining of marshland for farmland in the Midwest in the area that is now the refuge. After their fight, Congress passed and established a refuge on June 7, 1924. Some major threats to the refuge are invasive species, litter, and campfire impacts along the shoreline. There are management plans in place to help protect the refuge from these threats. There are volunteers and paid employees of the DNR, Army Corps, and junior stewards who do cleanup projects along the river on the refuge site. Managers also educate the public on leave no trace practices. Other threats to the refuge are climate change and habitat loss. The 3 management principles I decided to focus on are community education, managing on a long-term scale, and the management plans associated with the assessment of human-caused threats. The refuge does a lot of community education by having visitor centers available to the public. These visitor centers provide people with information about the refuge and the ecosystem, as well as the wildlife, fish, and plant species that occupy it. There are numerous trails for recreational use that have information posts and signs that educate the public on the space they're in and why it's important to protect it. The refuge also takes part in a Junior Stewards program that gives kids a hands-on environmental experience. The Junior Stewards do special projects like building bird and bat houses and later monitoring those houses, as well as harvesting different types of milkweed seeds and redispersing them in preparation for monarch butterfly migration. The refuge manages on a long-term scale. There are multiple management plans in place, 2 of which I will be talking about later in the video. One example of this type of long-term management is allowing hunting and trapping as legal activities for licensed individuals. This helps control the wildlife population within the refuge. By allowing the public to hunt and trap on the land, the protected area gains funds from licenses as well as receiving help managing wildlife populations, and it allows the public to recreate and harvest the animals they hunt or trap for food. There are signs posted on the refuge where trapping and hunting are allowed and present so that other people using the area are aware. The individuals who want to take part in hunting and trapping activities must obtain a license from their state. Human-caused threats that occur on the refuge include littering, campfire impacts, and invasive species that have been transplanted by humans, whether it was intentionally or unintentionally. Some recreational opportunities that may lead to littering of the refuge include kayaking, boating, fishing, camping, hunting, birding, and hanging out on beaches or in swimming areas. Many beaches and sandy islands are used as party sites by groups of people along the refuge waters. This leads to excessive trash buildup on the beaches and in the river itself. Solutions to this include installing accessible trash cans for people to discard their waste easily. There are also volunteer groups as well as paid employees from the Army Corps, Department of Natural Resources in various states, and land managers who help with cleanup projects and educate the public on how they can make a change to help the refuge thrive. One of the two management plans I will be talking about is the Comprehensive Management Plan. This plan is based off of the Environmental Impact Statement that was released on July 11, 2006. The CCP is the result of 4 years of planning and public involvement with the refuge. It states that the plan will help the refuge achieve its conservation goals while maintaining partnerships with other states and agencies. Some major objectives of this plan include buying a total of 15,000 acres of land within the refuge boundaries from interested sellers, to gather protection for 13 bluffland areas along the northern Mississippi River, to improve water quality, and to complete $150 million worth of habitat restoration. This plan is another example of long-term management within the refuge. Another management plan the refuge has in place is the Fur Bearer Management Plan. This plan is a 10-year plan, and it consists of detailed descriptions of the refuge, legislation around the establishment of the refuge, policy and framework of management plans, and the partnership with the Army Corps. It mainly focuses on trapping and hunting and the permits that need to be acquired to participate in recreational activities. It also brings the 4 states that make up the refuge together to create maps and set public use rules and regulations, as well as creating an animal and plant species list that include management features. So here's a short review of what I just covered. The Upper Mississippi Wildlife Refuge was established in 1924 and is home to many diverse plant and animal species that are protected on over 240,000 acres. The refuge is managed as a long-term plan and will remain protected for years to come and for our future generations to enjoy. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.